Jermaine Figueira, who will start at 1:55. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, before I delve into the substance of my presentation, permit me to say to all of our honorable women in this House, be assured, be assured that you will always have my respect. For I believe as honorable men, we have the responsibility not only to protect and love our women, but most importantly, to show them respect. The hurling of insults and personal attacks to each other and involving members' family in this House has become untenable in the last 2 days. The sanity of the Parliament needs to be preserved. Mr. Speaker, like this budget, Parliament needs a reset. Mr. Speaker, today I rise fearlessly to give my views on budget 2024, but also to constructively provide some to be constructive, Mr. Speaker, in my contributions. Mr. Speaker, it would be remiss of me not to acknowledge the contributions of the Honorable Minister and his staff at the Ministry of Finance, all program heads and public servants who contributed to the formulation of Budget 2024, Guyana's first $1 trillion budget. Further, Mr. Speaker, permit me to join my colleagues on both sides of the House in extending a Happy New Year to all Guyanese home and abroad, as I remain optimistic that the prudent and informed arguments we on this side of the House continue to put forward would cause the government to adjust sequence of their stay-in-the-course posture to ensure that the task of empowering citizens for intergenerational prosperity is indeed afforded literally to all Guyanese. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2024 in all its grandeur and flowery diction the Minister of Finance never fails to bring has been unsuccessful in achieving national contentment. National contentment, Mr. Speaker, but instead is doing well in drumming up national disquiet among the majority of the citizens. Mr. Speaker, not staying the course, but instead adjusting the course in Budget 2024 is indeed what is necessary. Mr. Speaker, why would the fastest growing economy, not in the Caribbean, not in the Western Hemisphere, but the world over, continue to lose so many experienced nurses and teachers to countries with single-digit and or negative economic growth? Why is the turnover rate so high in the military among junior ranks since First Oil? The truth is, Mr. Speaker, these professionals have recognized that even if the government paves streets or build 4-lane roads and some fancy roundabouts where they live, the wages and salaries and ill-conceived policies of this government are imprisoning them to the ranks of the working poor. The course of Budget 2024, Mr. Speaker, has to be adjusted to fix this dreadful reality. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2024 has in it the ability and the power of the zeros to address the multiplicities of issues that plague our learning institutions, health, agriculture, housing, legal, and other sectors. It has the means to elevate the poor out of poverty. A budget that is over $1 trillion, Mr. Speaker, must be put into context for a greater appreciation of why we say the that the course of government must be a change so that our people, Mr. Speaker, can benefit more. $1 trillion, Mr. Speaker, with a capital T, is equivalent to $1,000 billion. So we have what it takes in this budget to emancipate our citizens from the hamper distribution policy that was the hallmark of the last three budgets. It has what is needed to address high cost of living by ensuring food security for all and to address the issues of youth unemployment in a population of less than 800,000 people. Mr. Speaker, I am persuaded that all of us in this House, Mr. Speaker, long to see our beloved country grow and blossom to its true developmental apex, where the benefits of this country has to offer good beyond the government's friends, family, and those in privileged circles, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we all want to Ghana where the lived experience makes us proud to say Ghana is we own because of what our unwavering sacrifices have given to her and what she is giving back to us in return. Mr. Speaker, we need a budget. We need budget 2024 to give us improved infrastructure and all the fandangos that will glitter the outsiders. But at the same time, Mr. Speaker, we need to give us increase in compassion and care for our seniors, more quality in education, more equity in employment, and the awarding of contracts in the selection and the distribution of small grants. Yes, more compassion in livable wages and salaries for just services rendered across every sector. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2024, I see the state as a facilitator to the private sector to drive growth in all of its generous measures and expecting there to be a trickle down of benefits to the people. This approach, Mr. Speaker, seldom works anywhere. The people of Guyana have had past benefits from the PPP's policy. Hence, the demand for a different approach from this important sector in our economy, because the primary desire of the stakeholders involved is to make big profits by all means. Hence, we need to know how many citizens are living on the poverty line and below the poverty line in 2024. This will give us a guide as to how we adjust budget 2024 for more meaningful impact. The adjustment must be deliberate and significant, Mr. Speaker. The balance we strike must be definitive and unambiguous. We cannot be prioritizing roads and bridges at the expense of the citizens' social and economic needs, Mr. Speaker. The widening gap between the need for infrastructure development and the people's development must be realigned. Mr. Speaker, for it to be the stinking abomination for us to be spending hundreds of billions on fat cats projects while mummies, Mr. Speaker, cannot afford cabbage at $500 per pound, sweet potato at $300 a pound. Mr. Speaker, I have not seen a favorable comment in any of the press for this budget on cost of living. It therefore begs the question, Mr. Speaker, is this government tone deaf to the cost of living realities the people face? Mr. Speaker, yesterday, my good friend, the Honorable Vikram Bharat, boasts about 1,000 vehicles registered at GRA as a reflection of progress. But Mr. Speaker, here is the reality. 75% of all car owners took a loan to buy their cars under this 1 trillion budget, and they still pay tax on vehicles. Mr. Speaker, this budget can easily erase the tax duty on vehicles 1,500 to 2,000 cc for citizens whose tax salary is less, whose salaries after tax is less than $300,000 per month. This is unfair given our present levels of economic growth. Mr. Speaker, the trickle-down economic economic aspirations of this budget has already been rejected by the people because it fails to connect with the masses of our people. Mr. Speaker, staying on the right course to build prosperity for all requires adjusting some aspects of Budget 2024 to a more people-centered approach in how our resources are allocated for holistic development. This phase of our country's development must be pursued in ways that allow all citizens to feel and reap the benefits of our collective growth in a tangible way. Mr. Speaker, the same promptness in which drugs and other health materials are delivered to hospitals and facilities in other parts of the country is the same alacrity the Region 10 Regional Hospital must experience. As we speak, Mr. Speaker, diabetes drugs have to be procured privately by patients for this common chronic disease in Region 10, and it's not the same elsewhere. Budget 2024, Mr. Speaker, has the resources to award a judgment of the High Court for nurses who are unjustly penalized in Linden, and the government should do the honorable thing and pay them their dues. The agents of government should abort the unjustified and heartless challenge towards our healthcare practitioners and do so now, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the agriculture sector in Region 10 needs beyond lip service and a piecemeal intervention to the paltry increase of $7 million will not do much for our agricultural desire in the region, Mr. Speaker. Given the availability of arable lands and the general potential of this sector, purpose-driven policies for agriculture in Region 10 can derive real solutions for the damning effects of high cost of living by simply empowering residents to grow more food while simultaneously addressing the challenges of unemployment of our youths. The government must incentivize farmers to put landowners to work and to attract youths to the land as an attractive mainstream livelihood. We in Region 10 are certain we can make a significant contribution to the government's idea of food security nationally and help to achieve the regional 25% reduction of imports by 2025, a goal being led by the President. Sir, there are dozens of Lindeners with leases to acres of land and no resources to develop them sustainably. The people we have, Mr. Speaker, have the will, but not the wherewithal. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2024 can do much more to provide than subsidize fertilizers to farmers and a few dozen chickens to PPP supporters in the region. We need our farmers and leaseholders in West Utuka, Millie's Hideout, Wizrock, Rockstone, Ichuni, and Kokwani to have not only access roads to their lands and markets, but access to machinery to clear those lands, access to water, drainage, and irrigation, organic seeds, pesticides, and grants. Yes, sizable grants and low-interest special facility loans, thus empowering the region to make a meaningful contribution to this sector. Mr. Speaker, the government must give the same support given to farmers in Parika, regions 1, 3, 5, 6, and 9. Additionally, and most importantly, Mr. Speaker, the noteworthy representation government made in 2023 for rice farmers to get special interest rates and facilities with several commercial banks should be extended to other farmers involved in fruits and vegetable cultivation, livestock farming, and agritourism. Mr. Speaker, the government simply needs to move away from the piecemeal discriminatory interventions for sections of our population and focus on holistic, all-inclusive policies to include all facets and all the people in the sectors to benefit holistically. Mr. Speaker, affordable housing is a constitutional right in Guyana and should be embraced as a basic human right. I commend the government for the successful allocation of house lots to the citizens in our region, and the President for acting on his promise to Lindeners for the construction of 1,000 homes. Mr. Speaker, I must digress, however, to remind the government that while numbers in house lots allocation is a good thing politically, and while we know that home ownership is a catalyst to social stability, those who built their homes long ago to survive must also be looked upon kindly with ownership of land on which their homes exist. They too have a right of expectancy, Mr. Speaker. It is in this regard, Mr. Speaker, the budget 2024 can provide real, tangible help to thousands of residents in Linden and Region 10 who live in communities budgeted out of squatting. Mr. Speaker, the regularization of Andyville, Crossville, Rasville, Burjack, Covid City, West Utuka Hilltop, Buberial Back Road, parts of Amelia's Ward, Kamaka, Aichuni, and Kukwani should be done on the budget 2024. Mr. Speaker, I have written the President on this matter, and he publicly committed to getting it done, and the people will hold him accountable to his words.
Okay, Honorable, so your communication with the President and subsequent comments you need to withdraw. Please. I am being very strict with respect to the issue of reference to the President. 41.7 and 41.8.
Noted and so guided, Mr. Speaker. But Mr. Speaker, getting this done must be accompanied by care and the empowerment package, with those people paying 60% less for those lands, for it is them who carve out the living space with primitive tools and human strength. We believe that is a very fair position, Mr. Speaker. Getting it done, Mr. Speaker, should come with the building of roads within those communities and providing all of the infrastructure and facilities needed to make those communities conducive for mental health and the well-being of all residents, including their children and the elderly. Regularization must also come with heightened employment creation in the region. Mr. Speaker, we in Region 10 welcome the expansion of the Wismar-Mackenzie Bridge, a brainchild of the coalition government. Our present experience on a daily basis, Mr. Speaker, is testament to this need. Further, the building of the Linden-Lethem Highway is equally important to our people in the Region 10 for the enormous potential it can harness for growth and development. However, our people must benefit from owning lands along the corridor for the establishment of businesses. Mr. Speaker, by its geography, Region 10 is best suited to become a commercial and heavy cargo transshipment hub. Mr. Speaker, we will no longer accept just being a gateway to the interior and to Brazil. Where people and businesses pass through to other destinations. We want the destination. We want to be that destination, Mr. Speaker, for commerce, trade, tourism, and entertainment. No other region in this country is more connected to Guyana than Region 10, the Heartland region, where all three of our main rivers flow. The Heartland in which we can access 8 of our 10 administrative regions. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2024 can help us be a transshipment commercial hub. On the corridor to Brazil, Mr. Speaker, we need an industrial duty-free zone to be established, container terminals, assembly plants, warehouses, cottage industries, small, medium, and large-scale manufacturing, hotel, and so much more, Mr. Speaker, should be the establishment and more so get the support of government for sustained jobs to be established so that our people could be readily and permanently be employed. It is in this regard, Mr. Speaker, we invite the business community to come on board and invest in our tongue and region. Mr. Speaker, Region 10 needs deliberate investment. We need to see Linden Airstrip which is considered the third best in the country, develop now and come under control of the municipality as a revenue earner for the township. It needs a hangar, a control tower, and other facilities to contribute to air travel to the interior and other Caribbean destinations.
What is needed now is an extension for you to conclude.
Thank you, Comrade Speaker. I move that the honorable member be given 5 minutes to conclude his presentation.
Honorable member, you may.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2024 can make all of this possible. Mr. Speaker, it can make all of this possible, but its course needs adjusting. Mr. Speaker, the Linden Enterprise Network intended to support local entrepreneurship is failing in every regard. The paltry injection of 50 million in 2022, 2023, and again in 2024 means nothing to the people of Linden if our people can't access the funds. If we are serious about helping people develop businesses and create employment opportunities as a means of diversifying the local economy away from the bauxite dependency, then the funds to lend should not only be made available quickly, but should also be increased to $1 billion, Mr. Speaker. This will allow the people of Region 10 to make use of the opportunities that the corridor to the south offers to us for our permanent and futuristic development, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the good in Budget 2024 can be better. The good in Budget 2024, Mr. Speaker, can be better for all our people, with shifting the course and incorporating the inputs of the opposition in these debates for our collective benefit as Guyanese. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable member. And now for the honorable member, Mr. Sanjeev Dattalam.